Alrighty, YouTube, it's your boy Zxous, and your boy wants to do a updated top 10 current Nikkes in the game. I don't think I did one since last year, so I want to do a new one. Obviously, this disclaimer is going to be based on the character's overall performance. So, for example, if you see a character that's only good in PvP and that's the only place they're good in, don't expect them to be in the top 10 tier list because they're just not top 10 if they're only good in PvP, right? And I'm not just saying, oh, the characters in top 10 have to be good in every single content, but obviously a top 10 characters are the best characters in the game. Characters that are just better than others, right? I mean, the top 10 best characters in the game. So there is that, right? If you agree with my tier list, feel free to like and say you agree. If you don't agree, feel free to like and disagree. Or if dislike if you disagree, like do whatever you want to do, right? At the end of the day, a tier list is obviously someone's opinion. I don't think everybody's gonna agree with my rankings, but you're definitely gonna agree with my characters in the top 10, especially the top 5, because like, let's be for real. But anyways, let's go ahead and break this one down. So I'm gonna start from 1 and go all the way down to 10, and I'm gonna give you guys reasons behind it, right? I kind of know all their kits, so I'm not going to break it down for you guys. I had to get ad block, I'm sorry. A lot of these had ads, on them. But yeah, anyways, in the first slot, like the best character in the game, I have Rappy. I do think Rappy is just too good. I think she's like what we wanted from Red Hood. You know what I mean? And I know it sounds crazy to say that because like a lot of people might say Red Hood is still better than Rappy. But the thing about Rappy that I personally find more useful is the fact that, like, when it comes to Red Hood, right, you can use Red Hood's burst 1, 2, and 3 all in one burst rotation, right? But that's only one time of the entire battle. The problem is after that, you have to choose between using Red Hood as a burst 1 or as a burst 3. Usually it's as a burst 3 because she's a DPS, because her burst 1 is really good burst 1, but it's on a 40-second cooldown, which isn't good at all, right? A burst 1 being on a 40-second cooldown is just so sad. So Red Hood essentially just loses out on a lot of her stuff, a lot of her kit there, because it's like you're basically choosing, are you using her as a burst 1, are you using her as a burst 3, are you using her as a burst 2 and stuff like that. And I guess it's the same thing for Rappy, but I think what I like about Rappy is that as a burst 1 and as a burst 3, she is doing so much, right? As a burst 3, she's a crazy DPS, and as a burst 1, she becomes a crazy support character, right? Cooldown reduction. I believe she also gives burst generations and stuff like that. I don't know if you guys just heard that. That was my belly rowling. I believe she gives burst generation, right? No, she doesn't. I'm thinking of another character. But yeah, she gives a freaking cooldown reduction, attack damage, and all those other stuff, right? But then she still does crazy numbers. Like a burst 1 Rappy is hitting harder than a lot of the characters in the game. Like a burst 1 Rappy's DPS is still probably top 10 DPS in the game, which is just crazy because she loses out on literally all this damage. All this damage right here, she loses out on if she's on burst 1. So it's like, yeah, I would definitely say Rappy is number 1 in the game, right? Obviously, the only other character genuinely that I would have over her if I was to, like, you know, question it, argue it, the only character genuinely that I could see over her would be, where is she? I think I have to add her. I don't think this tier list has everybody. Hold on, let me add her in. No, she's there. Crown is the only character that I could argue, that I would let anybody argue with me for number 1, right? I'm sorry, but I just can't have Red Hood at number 1. And it's so crazy because I used to say Red Hood was better than Crown, like after Crown came out, but as time went by, like, and not only me, but a lot of people just realized that Crown is so good, right? Like her DPS is good for a supporter, right? She's not even meant to do damage, but her DPS is quite good for a supporter. But her supporting buffs are just too crazy. Her shield protects you from any and every single attack in the game, and as consistent as it is, like you would think her shield is useless because it's not as consistent, but her shield is really consistent. Her attack damage buffs, her reload speed buffs, her entire kit is consistent. It's like it's always running non-stop, and that's why I think Crown is so crazy, because not only are her damages so consistent and always running, but they're big damage buffs, so that's helping out a lot of characters in the game who aren't usually the craziest damage dealers, right? Put them with Crown and they are a crazy damage dealer. So I feel like she is the ultimate support, and it's going to be really hard to like replace Crown, right? But If Rappy wasn't in the game, I would have had Crown at 1, but unfortunately, I just don't. At number 3, I have Red Hood, right? At 3, I have Red Hood. I still think Red Hood is one of the best characters in the game, obviously. Don't get me wrong, her still being the only burst 1, 2, and 3 is quite crazy, and the way that you are able to use it in battle is cool and stuff, but like I said before, it's the fact that you can only do it one time, and then you're basically choosing between using her as a burst 1 or 3, because her burst 2 is really garbage, right? That's why I see it so equivalent to the Rappy, because it's like, you can say, oh, she has a burst 2 as well. Sure, but her burst 2 is useless. And the only reason why you would be using her burst 2 is if a burst 2 character on your team dies, which is quite hard because usually that burst 2 is Crown. And when are you usually dying with Crown? You know what I mean? Like, the only way I'm dying with Crown is if I'm way too underpowered, way too underpowered, and they're like just nuking me with one hit, right? Other than that, with Crown, there's no possible way I'm dying, genuinely. I mean, that's just how my Nikke gameplay experience is, so you guys let me know if I'm wrong or not, but that's just how I see it, right? At 5, I do have Cinderella, or not 5, 4. I have Cinderella at 4. I do think Cinderella is a great character. I think a lot of people might be mad that Cinderella is not higher on the list, but I'm sorry. You cannot tell me Cinderella is better than these other characters. She might be stronger than them all. Maybe not Rappy, but she might be stronger than Red Hood. She might be stronger than Crown, but overall, like, is Cinderella better than these other 3? Not really, in my opinion. I think she's a crazy DPS, but other than that, I don't think so, right? And then at 5, I have Scarlet Black Shadow, right? Obviously, Scarlet Black Shadow is the exact same thing as Cinderella, right? The only difference is Cinderella has a decoy that basically protects her from dying. That's really it. They have the exact same kits, basically. Not the exact same kit, but their whole purpose in the game is the exact same thing. They just do ooga booga damage, and that's all they have to offer. Cinderella just has a little bit more to offer with her decoy for herself. So that's why Cinderella is over. And Cinderella is stronger than Scarlet Black Shadow as well. So I have Scarlet Black Shadow 5, right? That's what I have in my 5, right? Now, this is where a lot of people, like, I think the first 5, a lot of people will agree with, at least within the first 5 characters. Maybe you might switch it around or not, but I think a lot of people agree with this. Now, from 6 to 10, this is where I expect people to go at my throat because, hey, yo, I mean, this is where I expect people to, like, you know, do what they gotta do. Excuse me? This is where I expect people to start complaining in the comments, right? I know it's going to seem crazy what I'm about to do, but I'm sorry. Favorite item Helm might be up there for me, but I still don't know if I have her over Litter, and that's the only thing. Where is Litter? Here. I don't know if I have her over Litter. I don't think so. I think Litter is a great burst 1, but I only feel like Litter is still a crazy burst 1 because they have no other good burst 1s for real, right? Like, other than D Killer Wife, other than Rappy's burst 1 version, other than Red Hood's burst 1 version, Rouge as well, what other burst 1 does she, like, is Litter competing with? You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of what I'm getting at. Like, Litter is still a broken burst 1 in my opinion because she does not much other burst 1s in there, right? There's only like 2 or 3, and then the other 2 are burst 3 that can go into burst 1, hence why they're in the top 5, right? Litter has a crazy attack buff at 56%. It is only for 5 seconds, but it's still a crazy attack buff every burst rotation. She does have cover HP recovery, and then she does have a cooldown reduction, right? Which is cool, right? She has CDR. Helm here has attack damage buff when you enter a full burst. She does crazy damage with her favorite item now. She does heal on her burst skill and then also just for free, and then she does give crit rate increase to normal attack and also damage increase to interruption parts, right? So I think the skills that Litter have I would value more than what Helm has, but I do prefer Helm over Litter personally. But if I'm going in an overall sense, I do think I have Litter over Helm. I do definitely have Helm in the top thing, right? I think I have Helm there at 7, right? I just talked about which he does. Now, I think at 8 I have Alice, right? Like, don't get me wrong, I feel like Alice is more used than Helm because Helm just got a favorite item. I feel like Alice is a great DPS. I feel like Alice is still one of the most used characters in the game as a DPS, don't get me wrong. But I just don't feel like overall her value is as crazy as Helm's now. You know what I mean? Like, Helm, it does crazy damage and she's a crazy support. Alice is a great DPS, but a lot of people are only using Alice for bosses and then also like where she's type advantage against, right? Where Helm, you're basically using her anywhere now because her best partner is with Crown. You know what I mean? Like Naga used to be in the top 10, I feel like. Maybe I might still have Naga in the top 10, I'm not sure. But I feel like with Helm's favorite item, it really just puts Naga down. It really does put Alice down. Maybe that's kind of questionable. You guys let me know down below in the comments. That's the only one I'm like debating about, right? Now 8 and or 9 and 10. I think I need to go through the, because it's like overall. Because overall, yeah, PvP crazy, every content crazy, PvP crazy, every content crazy, PvP crazy, every content crazy. Like, these characters are crazy in every single content, right? So I'm like, in my 9 and 10, I'm looking for a character who's also like that, right? Not just crazy in one thing and then go about their day, right? Goes about their day, my bad. I think I probably have Naga at 9. Like, I think I have Naga at 9, to be honest. She's just too crazy. Her damage is okay. It's nothing too crazy, but she is in the same situation where it's like you do need another character for her to be crazy, right? Like, it's weird because a lot of her, she heals and stuff like that, but a lot of her kit doesn't actually work unless you have a shield, right? If I just remember correctly. Let me just double check that, right? Because her burst skill, you're not using her burst skill. Like, you don't use her burst skill, right? But my thing is, yeah, when there's a shield on her, then she'll give this attack buff. If there's no shield, then she'll just give this, which is garbage, right? This is not a good attack buff for a supporter, right? A supporter. That's not the craziest attack buff. With this, though, if you have a shield on her, sure. And then the thing is, when you have this the shield on her, she also gives a crazy damage though when attacking core buff, right? And then without that, to allies with the highest attack after 5 normal attacks, she's giving a damage core buff, and she heals as well, right? Recovers cover HP after 12 normal attacks, and then heals after 5 normal attacks. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, yeah, she's very, very good overall, supportive wise and stuff like that, but she does require a shield, right? My thing is now D, that's what I was looking for, D killer wife, right? It's kind of hard because it's like, I wanted to put Grave in the top 10 as well, right? But I don't feel like I can fit Grave in there. Summer Anise is another character who I don't feel like I could fit in there anymore, right? I feel like D Killer Wife and Naga are still characters I can fit in there. It's questionable because D is a great support, right? But I feel like she's a great support mainly for bosses, right? I'm not using D Killer Wife in PvP. Where when it comes to Summer Anise, I'm using her everywhere. So yeah, I think I will put Summer Anise over, right? I'm sorry, but I am using Summer Anise everywhere, right? Grave, I'm not using her unless I have a Pierce team, so maybe not as well. But Summer Anise is crazy against literally everything. Every content in the game, she's broken, right? PvP, one of the best characters in the game for that. Bosses, one of the best characters in the game for that. Story, one of the best characters. Like, she's one of the best characters for that, right? And then obviously her supporting Electric, which is at this point one of the best. Like, look what they have. They have Exia, Summer Anise herself, Cinderella, Ayn, freaking Scarlet, Maiden, Maid Broody, like, you know what I mean? Naga herself. They have Mari, whoever. They have way too many good characters now that it's like her buffs actually just cater to them so well. So I think this is my top 10. I think if you ask me my top 10, I think this is what I would rank it as. Rappy at 1, Crown at 2, Red Hood at 3, Cinderella at 4 and 5. Like, my 1 to 5, like I said, I'm very firm on that. Like, I'm 100%, I'm set on that. There's nothing anybody could tell me to change those 5 because there's just no possible way, right? From 6 to 7, that's where it's, or 6 to 10, that's where it's like, okay, I can change these around, right? Maybe the last 5 characters might not. No, there's no way you don't have Litter in your top 10. There's no way you don't have favorite item Helm in your top 10. There's no way you don't have Alice in your top 10. Maybe Naga and Anise are the only ones you change, but the other 8, you guaranteed have them in your top 10. There's no possible way. So I don't know. I'll leave it like that, right? You guys let me know if you agree or disagree. I like it. I like it. I just don't see anybody here that's just overall better, right, than these characters. I just don't see a character, maybe favorite item Laplace, but then again, she's just a crazy DPS, right? And then she is still a liability when you use her burst skill because she can't cover. That's the one thing, right? When I use Laplace and I use her burst skill, she's in her burst skill and you cannot cover, right? So there's been a lot of situations where the enemy just nukes her because she can't cover where everybody else is covering, right? So yeah, that's just my opinion. But you guys let me know if you guys agree. If you disagree, it's your boy Zxous. I'm out. PS. This is my top 10 right here. Let me know if you guys agree. I'm out. Let me actually just boom. Can I do that? There you go. That's my top 10 right there. There you guys go. Full screen for you guys. All right, I'm out. Let me know if you agree or not. Bye.